Man, gang wars be real, fo. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't gonna lie, fo. What's the word, YouTube, man? It's your boy Ron Glow. We back with another reaction video, man. See what I'm saying? Today we reacted to the channel Hood Encyclopedia. If y'all want to ever come check out this video and see what other videos they got, their channel right here, the Hood Encyclopedia. We got Pluto 2 times and Ghost Mob versus Lil Twin and Hood Rich Young Money. Now, I'm reacting to this video for because it's going on in the rap right now. Like it's like for any outsiders they may not know, for it's really going on throughout the rack, bro. Like it's this motherfucker on a 10 out west is as bad as out south and over east now. Like I can go on and on. Like I'm gonna get more into it, but bro, if you from the rack, then you know. But out west is just as bad as out south, over east, and like it's just as bad now. Like it never was supposed to be like this. Out west was never like this. How it is right now. Because now you got all these different cliques and gangs beefing with each other from all over the city. They don't give a fuck where you from. These motherfuckers is getting in hot cars and and strikers and coming all the way from 118th to out west to, you feel me, like for real, bro. Like this shit crazy, man. But if y'all enjoyed the video, man, please leave a like, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you new. Without further ado, let's do it.
While many of the gang wars raging across Chicago's South Side involve rival sets of the Gangster Disciples and Black Disciples, the West Side tells a different story. In the Austin neighborhood especially, the landscape has long been defined by a different kind of street politics. Although a handful of Gangster Disciple and Black Disciple factions do exist across the West Side, Austin has historically been dominated by gangs tied to the People Nation and the Finball 5-Point Star. Throughout the neighborhood, the main conflicts have centered around different branches of the Vice Lords and the
That's what's predominantly out west too. Like it's predominantly folk coin hustlers and lords. You feel me? But you still got GDs and BDs and other shit that people don't probably even know about, like breeds and Mickey Cobras and Stones and Souls. Like it's all type of shit throughout the city for real. But out west for real is predominantly lords and folk corner hustlers.
or corner hustlers, with the Black Souls also holding a major presence. The Black Souls are widely known as an independent gang associated with the Four-Pointed Black Diamond, though parts of their history trace back to past alliances with the Folk Nation, including offshoots like the gangster Black Souls, who once fell under the Six-Point Star. And among the many conflicts that have stained Austin's streets with bloodshed, one war in particular stands out. It is a conflict that has lasted less than a decade, yet in that short time, it has already claimed numerous lives, shattered families, and left deep scars across the neighborhood. Today, we will be taking a full look at the tragic and infamous war between the Ghost Mob faction and the Hood-Rich Young Money Alliance, a deadly conflict involving several factions that, despite falling under the same broader nation and umbrella, turned against one another in a ruthless internal war. In this video, we're going to break down the full backstory behind both Austin factions, explain how this conflict began, and go through the known killings connected to this war in chronological order, showing how everything unfolded and how the neighborhood ended up where it is today. Ghost Mob is a faction of conservative vice lords based in the Austin neighborhood on Chicago's West Side.
Hey, listen, Austin is not as crazy how it used to be, bro. Like before he even dive into this origin story and the whole context of it, Austin, it's I ain't gonna lie, it's about the same, but during these wars, when it was like predominantly just Austin gangs, like overly into it, I wasn't even living in Austin during this time, and I'm glad for like I've been out west nigga my whole life. I lived out west my whole life, and I was bouncing around. Like I stayed in Austin when I was real young. Like I think I was like 9 or 8 years old, but bro, Austin was one of the most bust out west communities. Like for a little period of time, like it was gangs going at it, gang. Like 2016, 2015. All I remember is just seeing news every other day or every other week or whenever I see it, seeing a shooting in Austin. Austin. You know, you got other places too, out west, Garfield, Humble Park, you know, all that other shit. But Austin was like cracking though. I ain't gonna lie. cracking for real.
Their territory is said to stretch from Chicago Avenue to Augusta Boulevard and from North Laverne Avenue to North Cicero Avenue. The blocks most closely associated with the faction are Lehman and Walton and Lehman and Iowa. The roots of the conservative vice lords in what is now Ghost Mob territory go back to the early 1980s, during a period when much of Austin was undergoing major social and economic decline. Thriving commercial strips along Chicago Avenue, Madison Street, and Lake Street gradually became lined with abandoned stores, vacant lots, open drug activity, and rising crime. By that time, many white residents had already left the neighborhood, and large parts of Central and South Austin.
And guess where all they ass ended up at? Oak Park and all the other west suburbs. That's exactly where they ass ended up at. And then when Austin was all ran down and busted up, they left it open for black folks to move in. Shit crazy. That's history for y'all.
Had become overwhelmingly African American. Elegant homes and once prominent apartment buildings had fallen into disrepair, and many low-income families moved into deteriorating housing throughout the area. Before disappearing by the mid-1980s, some of the last remaining white street gangs in the area included the Rice Boys, who were active around Rice and Pine and Menard and Thomas, and the Ghetto Brothers organization near Thomas and Lawler in the Lafayette Park area. In the decades that followed, those same sections of Austin would become home to newer generations of Black Street organizations. Between the mid-1970s and early 1980s, Austin also became heavily associated with a major
Crosstown Lions, West Side Gatekeepers. Damn, so Larry Hoover and Jack Bobo, I guess he the head of the Black Souls. They had a little alliance, if you will.
Narcotics trade corridor, sometimes referred to in street lore as the heroin superhighway. The route was said to run from Chicago and Cicero all the way toward the Eisenhower Expressway, allowing buyers and dealers to move quickly through the neighborhood. Among the groups reportedly tied to that era of drug distribution were the conservative vice lords near Chicago and Cicero, the insane vice lords near Moore Park, and the Undertaker vice lords from Jackson to Congress along Cicero. The name Ghost Mob was later adopted in honor of an 18-year-old member known as Terrence Johnson, also called Ghost, or C-Tance, who was killed on September 7, 2017. According to accounts of the incident, he was shot around 7:24 a.m. in the 3800 block of West Flournoy Street, an area controlled by a rival faction affiliated with the...
That's in the trenches, bro. That's in the trenches. He checked on Flournoy. That's in the trenches. That's Lawndale for you right there. Like...
Four Corner Hustlers street gang known as Poppy Gang.
CVLK.
They dissing, yeah.
He was struck multiple times, including in the neck and right arm, and was taken to Stroger Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:53 a.m. His death was ruled a homicide. In the aftermath, members of his hood began using the name Ghost Mob in his memory. Ghost was remembered heavily on social media by people close to him. Members spoke publicly about their grief, with some saying they would never forget him. One member, Zach, reportedly said he would forever carry a .40 caliber handgun in Ghost's honor, while also recalling that Ghost was among the first people he ever smoked marijuana with. Others openly directed threats toward the Poppy Gang faction in the aftermath of his death. Ghost was also said to have had a daughter before he was tragically gunned down. During that same period, rapper Pluto 2 Times, a prominent member associated with Ghost Mob, was incarcerated. While locked up, he posted an emotional message mourning Ghost's death, saying he could not believe Ghost had died and describing him as someone who was under his wing. Referring to him as Baby Pluto, he also wrote that Ghost should save him a spot in heaven. Ghost Mob also goes by the name 4900, a reference to Lehman and Walton being located on the 4900 block of West Walton.
See, look, back when niggas was rocking Trues and Robins, and like, boy, Chicago done been through so many different eras and phases, shorty. Like, this shit crazy. I'll be watching these videos, just looking back on this shit like, bro, it's crazy, like, how many lives been lost in all these different eras of Chicago, man. Like, early 2000s, shit, even before the early 2000s, 90s, 80s, you feel me? 70s even, shit, all that shit. But really, early 2000s, mid 2000s, 2010s, whatever, and then now you got the present day. It's all wild. It's the wild, wild west out here. Do your homework, folks. Like, It's the Wild
That
Wild
block
West.
was once known for
Real,
Ray's Food
boy.
Mart, a neighborhood store that later changed in July 2019 and became Corner Store Deli Grab and Go Mart. Before the name Ghost Mob, the faction had gone by TNG, an acronym created in honor of two fallen members, Troy and Gerald. Gerald Yerhuan Perry, who was reportedly affiliated with both the 4900 conservative Vice Lords faction and the Four Corner Hustlers, was killed on June 30th, 2008. 2 years later,
Damn, that's
Troy
my
Brown
birthday.
Jr.
This nigga, damn, that's crazy. Folks didn't checked on my B-Day. 2008, I think I was about like 5 years old. Bro, folks checked on my B-Day. That's crazy.
also known as Daddy, was killed on August 8, 2010. He was just 15 years old. According to reports, Troy was shot around 2 p.m. in the 4900 block of West Iowa Street and later pronounced dead at Stroger Hospital. A female who was shot alongside him survived. After losing both Gerald and Troy within a short span, the faction adopted the name TNG to honor them. Investigators would later identify gang art tied to the group that included disses aimed at Wicked Town and the Four Corner Hustlers. Some of that artwork appeared to suggest blame for Troy's death, while also reflecting the growing hostility between the set and multiple surrounding factions. Even before the TNG era, the faction had used other names, including BMF, which stood for Big Money Family or Black Money Family, as well as Black Walton, a name tied to their Walton Street block. Over time, Ghost Mob developed conflicts with numerous factions across the West Side, including LT or Teen Mob on Leamington and Thomas and Lawler and Thomas, Wicked Town, also known as 500, on Leamington and Ferdinand, Sedville in the Marshall Field Garden Apartments, located on...
Damn, that's Polo G them shit. How the fuck y'all... See, that's the thing. I don't understand these street politics for. Like, I get it because, you know, I done seen shit, heard shit, whatever, cool. Like, it's like, I get it, but I don't in the same regard because how does I don't know, fo. That just be goofy. Like, I ain't even explain or question it because shit happens in the streets. Like, you know, niggas be dick riding each other. Niggas might think they cool with another nigga because he fuck with your music. You know, in this new generation, especially, like, these young niggas, they be linking up and smoking weed with niggas just because he a rapper and woo out the bam and y'all think y'all cool. And then next thing you know, a watch or something gets stolen and now niggas into it and killing each other and this and that. So, I don't know, bro, but like, these niggas is all the way up north, basically. That's my point. This Polo G Hood, Sayville, this Polo G Hood. These niggas is on the north side of Chicago. They as like literally on a whole nother side of town. How did they end up into it with the fucking Ghost Mob out west Austin? Like, Austin to up north that's a drive, gang. Like, Austin damn near is the west suburbs. It's Oak Park. And then up north, Chicago, that's like, you feel me? That's far. Like, that's a drive.
the north side of Chicago, B-Gang on West End and Karloff, Tosnem or FSG from Madison to Congress and Springfield, MNA on Menard and Augusta.
Yep. See, the rest of these niggas, that this normal for them to be beefing with these niggas. Cause they in the vicinity. All these niggas that he naming, these gangs, they in the vicinity of Ghost Mob.
Mob on Potomac and Lamont, Baby T Blood Gang, DMG or
BTBG.
7 Deuce, CFO Mob, and Hood Rich Young Money, a group whose conflict with Ghost Mob would later become one of its more notable recent wars. At the same time, Ghost Mob has also been associated with several allies, including Richway 600 on Ohio and Ridgeway, Toon World or 900 on Iowa and Latrobe, K-Town factions of the Gangster Disciples, Hubbard Nation, EMG, and Beam Team on Roosevelt and Lawndale. Public social media posts and music links have often reflected those alliances, with rappers and members from other hoods, including rapper Richway Tilla from the Richway Conservative Vice Lords faction, openly showing support for 4900. Ghost Mob's main shooters and killers include Pluto 2 times, Zach and Cody, Davo C, Lil 3, Sid, TNG Rello, TNG Bart, and Cleavon Jones. Ghost Mob's most recognized rappers include Derek Burns, known as Pluto 2 times, Keyshawn Keaton, known as Cody 2 times, Kobe 2 times, Turbo Fo 9, Reese Fo 9, and Roderick James Jr., known as Tooley, who was killed on December 6th, 2020, at just 19 years old. Hood Rich Young. Money is an alliance and umbrella made up of two individual four-corner hustlers.
Now he talking about Hood Rich Young Money.
factions, with each set located in the northern and southern sections of Chicago's Austin neighborhood. The alliance traces its origins back to around 2008 to 2010, during the start of the new decade. The original founding members of the alliance reportedly included Rufus, Jonathan Searcy, also known as Spaz Out, and his biological brothers Devontae Searcy, known as Tay Stacks, and Jalen Searcy. Among members, Jonathan Spaz Out Searcy was regarded as one of the key chiefs of the faction. He was killed on December 27, 2017, and left behind a son. The Searcy family grew up on the North Avenue side of Austin, in territory controlled by the M-Dub faction of the Mafia Insane
That
Vice.
should be crazy to me, blood. Like, it ain't crazy, but it's like, it still be kind of dawning on me, like, how niggas be still in the streets and end up leaving behind a son, like a son or a kid, a daughter, or whatever. Like, should be crazy. That'd be a whole family ruin right there. You know, no dad in life. Now the son, especially if you leave behind a son and he in the trenches and he raised by his mom, he definitely more likely to follow in your footsteps. And the cycle repeats itself again and again and again and again and again. You see what I'm saying, folks? Like, shit just keep going on, man.
Lords and the broader Sane Gang alliance. While living there, Rufus and the Searcy brothers were known to be affiliated with the Four Corner Hustlers, though they remained cordial and allied with the Mafia Insane Vice Lords for years, at times operating under their influence. They attended Joseph Lovett Elementary School alongside other future members of the Mafia Insane Vice Lords from the same area. That relationship reportedly changed once Rufus, the Searcy brothers, and several Mafia Insane Vice Lords members began attending Steinmetz College Prep. Around that time, the Young Money Four Corner Hustlers faction began to form. Their original territory was established near North Avenue and Amundsen Park, stretching from Narragansett Avenue to Austin Boulevard, and from North Avenue to Cortlandt Street. This placed them west of the M-Dub Mafia Insane Vice Lords faction. Their main block became Bloomingdale and Melvina, and because Melvina sits in the 1800 block, Young Money also became known as 1800. Later, after tensions and a fallout with two now-deceased twin brothers, Boda and Bud, from the M-Dub Mafia Insane Vice Lords faction, Young Money relocated deeper into the southern section of Austin, as they would open up the Hood Rich faction, growing beyond their original strongholds, pushing further into key blocks that held both strategic and symbolic importance. They would go on to open up and operate on Madison and Central, a busy corridor known for constant activity and heavy foot traffic. From there, their influence stretched west toward Madison and Parkside, solidifying their presence along Madison Street and tightening their grip over that strip. Not long after, the expansion continued south as members began operating around Monroe and Lotus, marking another step in their effort to spread throughout central Austin. They were actively building a wider territory, linking multiple corners into one connected movement. This area fell within the historic Four Corner Hustlers-controlled neighborhood known as Capitol Hill, which had originally been established by Monroe Banks and Joe Hodari in the late 1960s, before later being associated with Raymond Shaky Sean Betts, a major figure tied to the body snatcher branch of the Four Corner Hustlers. Over time, Hood Rich Young Money adopted multiple names and identities tied to fallen members. The alliance is also known as Waddy World, in honor of DeWadia Barlow, also known as Waddy, who died in a car crash on January 9, 2016. Another name, Tony Town, or Tony Gang, honors Tony Jones, also known as Lil Tony, who was killed on February 4, 2016, allegedly by members of the Sane Gang M-Dub Mafia Insane Vice Lords faction. The younger generation of Hood Rich Young Money, including the age group associated with rapper Lil Twin, reportedly began going by Snatchnem or Snatch Gang.
Tony Gangs, Tony Gangs, Water Gangs, 1800 and 500, they be on that same shit.
So how you say the hood came about? Like it was always Snatch Gang?
No, Snatch Gang came like a little later.
The shorty,
Tony Town
yeah,
at first.
it's Tony Town at first, 1800, 500. The shorties came with Snatch Them. They made their own. You feel me?
Okay,
they own Snatch Them. So we started with the movement, but it's always been Tony Town,
It's
1800.
all the same shit, though.
All the same, though. We all the same for real to come down to it.
The faction also uses the names 0615 and 0617, references to the death dates of two fallen members, Ahmad Tashawn Smith, who was killed on June 15, 2017, and Timothy Lockhart, who was killed on June 17, 2023.
What's the 0617?
Oh, that's my homie. He passed away June 17. Oh, bro, and then we just ran with that shit.
Is it Tutter?
Yeah, bro.
Tutter is from DMG and from y'all area?
He really from off Austin, but like he got family from out south and DMG and shit. That's his family.
Hood Rich Young Money has developed a long list of rivals across Austin and surrounding sections of the West Side and
These
South Side.
shorties be young as hell, like young as hell, gang. 14, 15 years old, already getting their hands dirty. Already got their hands dirty, like shit really be crazy. Bro.
Of Chicago. Their main enemies reportedly include the entire Sane Gang alliance of the Mafia Insane Vice Lords, Young Heavy, also known as Parkside Village or CL, the MNA faction of the Body Snatcher Four Corner Hustlers, BKN, also known as Nitty Gang, M Block, also known as Face World 069.
Monty got hit, he was on some train shit. Why the fuck you listen, brother, like they really slay shit? 100 cross match when we see that while we catch Bando, we gonna put him in the sky.
And the Ghost Mob Conservative Vice Lords faction. Another branch connected to the Hood Rich Young Money umbrella is WMG, or Waller Money Gang, based around Washington and Waller. WMG also goes by GRG, meaning Get Reckless Gang, and 2TG, meaning Two Turnt Gang, in honor of Damian Johnson Jr., who was killed on November 12th, 2023. Despite their rivalries, Hood Rich Young Money is also tied to several allied factions. Their main allies reportedly include L Block, also known as Toss Gang, Backend or 1300, a faction of the Latin Eagles, Smut Gang from Madison and Laramie, Low Block located on Van Buren and Lotus, DCG, also known as Jack Boys, from Potomac and Mayfield, TMB Bankroll, and YFN, a four-corner hustler set under the Sniper branch named after Eric Sniper, who was killed on July 9th, 1995. Hood Rich Young Money's main shooters and killers include members like Curly Harvey Jr., a.k.a. Savage, T Savage, Tyshawn Andrew Manning, a.k.a. Big Shorty, who was shot and killed on March 15th, 2020, and Ronald Jackson, a.k.a. Rico or Wade, who was killed on June 22nd, 2020. The Alliance has also built a visible rap presence over the years. Some of the main rappers associated with Hood Rich Young Money include Pronto Spaz Out, Lil Twin, Double R Shawno, K Savage, Hakeem Campbell, also known as SBG Chemo, Tremaine Watson, also known as Trey Watts, Key Millie,
I thought that was from out south.
617 Stro, 0617 TP, 061 Novi, Lil Prada, Prada LaFleur, and Noski. The war between Ghost Mob and Hood Rich Young Money would officially begin after Hood Rich Young Money inherited a conflict that originally involved B-Gang and the Ghost Mob and Richway factions of the conservative Vice Lords. At the time, Hood Rich Young Money was still closely allied with B-Gang, long before that relationship would eventually fall apart in the following decade. But while the tension already existed in the background, the conflict truly escalated when Ghost Mob allegedly took the life of a well-loved younger member connected to Hood Rich Young Money. That victim was also tied to the rising Waller Money Gang generation.
It's crazy, bro. I remember seeing this, bro. This rest in peace to Shorty. I ain't know him personally, but I had people that went to my school that was related to him and knew him and all type of shit. And it was all over Facebook. Like 2018, 2017, I think that's when it happened. That was when shit was going on, boy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, rest in peace to bro, for real. I remember saying this, and it's crazy that I'm saying this in this video, bro. Like, I ain't even know this. I ain't even see at the time. I was like in high school. I was a shorty. I ain't really know nothing about gangs and who and what missed the, cause I wasn't. You feel me? I wasn't in the street, so I ain't know who was with the shit, who wasn't. You know what I'm saying? But well, I remember at the time. I remember like I seen this shit. I probably seen this shit and just thought like, man, another motherfucker, another innocent person getting killed. You feel me? Like, whole time not even knowing. Watching this video now, the truth getting exposed. Like, Shorty was out here, in the streets. You feel me? So
a younger faction seen as both a branch of and close ally to the Hood Rich Young Money movement. On September 30th, 2018, Ujuan Drape, better known as Too Hot, was shot and killed in Chicago's Austin neighborhood. He was a member of the Waller Money Gang faction and associated with the Hood Rich Young Money movement. Too Hot was also a student at North Lawndale College Prep High School, making his death even more heartbreaking to those who knew him.
Yeah, that shit was all over Facebook and I think the news too. Like, that shit was crazy.
The shooting happened at around 4:40 p.m. in the 5500 block of West Monroe Street, one of Hood Rich Young Money's main operating blocks near Monroe and Lotus. According to police and medical examiner reports, Too Hot was walking on the sidewalk when a green SUV drove by, and Pluto 2 Times, who would be the alleged suspect inside of the SUV, would fired shots. Too Hot was struck in the chest and shoulder, then rushed to Stroger Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. In a cruel twist, Too Hot had been killed in the very same neighborhood he called called home. His death sent shockwaves through the Waller Money Gang faction and the wider hood-rich Young Money circle. To many, Too Hot was more than just another young face from the neighborhood. He was somebody people had watched grow up. His loss was felt deeply, while on the other side, it was seen as a major score for Ghost Mob in the opening stages of the war. After his death, members and affiliates took to social media to grieve and remember him. Some reflected on the times they shared with him in the neighborhood, struggling to accept that someone so young was really gone. Among those paying tribute was Myquan Blanchard, also known as Choka or Black Glow from DCG, also known as Jack Boys, who would himself be killed in 2020. In his message, he spoke on watching Too Hot grow up, remembered the nickname he had as a child, and expressed how cold the world was for someone so young to lose his life so early. What makes the loss of Too Hot even more haunting is what he left behind just hours before his death. Earlier that same day, on September 30th, 2018, Too Hot had made his final post on Facebook. At the time, it may have seemed like just another normal update, nothing out of the ordinary, just a young teenager living his life, unaware of what was coming next. But after the news broke, that post took on a completely different meaning. It became a timestamp, a final glimpse into his last moments, a reminder of how quickly everything can change. Within hours, the same day he shared that post, Too Hot would be shot and killed in his own neighborhood. Arguments reportedly broke out in the comments of a deleted Instagram post where the accused suspect, Pluto 2 Times, was seen going back and forth with members of hood-rich Young Money and the younger WMG generation, responding to members who were mocking him of his skinny jeans that he was wearing. What began as mocking and insults quickly turned darker, with comments that appeared to reference the fatal incident itself, with Pluto saying that Too Hot's pants was tight, as well as Pluto's pants they were referring to, and that's why he fell, while revealing to the public in the comments that he even chased Too Hot down during his death. Chase down is a slang term in the streets, meaning that he was shooting and running after Too Hot.
Like, bro, this all crazy, bro. Like, niggas love. They infatuated with killing the motherfucker and then bragging about it online. Like, I don't see how you niggas do it, bro.
During the incident, adding more fuel to an already growing street war. After the death of Too Hot, retaliation was all that remained on the minds of hood-rich Young Money and the Waller Money Gang faction. The pain, the anger, and the need for revenge only pushed the conflict further. And months later, in the spring of 2019, that retaliation would finally come, when they would allegedly take the life of a well-loved and respected younger member from the Ghost Mob.
Bro, this crazy, gang. Like, for all these faces, these first two faces, I seen these niggas memorials and shit on Facebook. Like, it's crazy. Now him, I think I remember Shorty being in the game. I think I remember him. Like, I already seen him around, I think. But I ain't know that other Shorty was like affiliated, but it's crazy, gang.
Conservative Vice Lords faction. On April 20th, 2019, 16-year-old Prince Lazaric L. Green, better known as Baby C or Els from the Ghost Mob faction, was shot and killed in Chicago's West Garfield Park
and I think I was living
It
around
happened in broad daylight. At approximately 12:39 p.m., officers responded to the 4100 block of West Adams Street, where Baby C was found unresponsive on the ground, suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. According to Chicago police, he was rushed to Stroger Hospital, but despite efforts to save him, he was later pronounced dead. An autopsy would later confirm the worst. Baby C had died from multiple gunshot wounds, and his death was officially ruled a homicide. What made the situation even more frustrating for investigators was that multiple people were present at the scene, but no one came forward. Witnesses refused to cooperate, leaving behind more questions than answers. And to this day, no arrests have been made. For Ghost Mob, the loss of Baby C was devastating. He was just 16 years old, part of the younger generation coming up, and his death only added more fuel to an already escalating war. Shortly after, Pluto 2 Times, who had already been at the center of rising tensions, took to social media to honor Lazaric Green. In his posts, he expressed anger toward Waller Money Gang, blaming them for the killing. He referred to Baby C as his little homie and openly spoke on his frustration, even saying he wished he had been there when the shooting happened, a statement that reflected just how deep things had gotten. By this point, point. This was no longer just tension or isolated incidents. This was war, and it was only getting worse. Baby C was deeply respected throughout Ghost Mob. Other prominent members of the faction, including Zach and Cody 2 Times, were known to hold him in high regard. He was especially close with several younger members of his generation, including Lil 3 and Jaquan Tyrese Shockley, also known as Spike. Baby C, Zach, Spike, and other Ghost Mob members were often seen together, even spending time at the beach, reflecting the close personal bonds they shared beyond the streets. The three were considered part of the same age group within Ghost Mob and were frequently together. After Baby C's death, Lil 3 shared screenshots of their final direct messages on social media, revealing that the two had plans to take rap seriously and try to build a future through music. In the aftermath of his death, Ghost Mob members began using the acronym BCMG, which stood for Baby C Murder Gang, as a tribute to Lazaric Baby C Green. Members such as Lil 3 even placed the acronym in front of their names on social media in his honor, showing how deeply his loss affected those closest to him. Baby C was viewed as a major loss for every generation of the TNG Ghost Mob faction. He had built a reputation on the streets and was widely known throughout the area. He also maintained strong relationships with other respected members of the set, including Ghost, the individual whose name inspired Ghost Mob, and Sequan. Tragically, all three of those younger members would ultimately meet the same fate, becoming victims of gun and gang violence. Linnell Fields Jr., also known as Sumo, who was considered a big homie to
That's
Baby.
the thing about these streets, bro. Like, these niggas grew up together and they wouldn't even know, like, who out of them gonna be the first to go. Like, you will never know. Like, the street shit get tricky, man. Like, my best advice to all the youth, man, avoid this shit, gang. Like, imagine not knowing who out of your friend group gonna die first. And your friends end up checking out this shit first, and then you be the last one to go. Or, you know, like, the shit just crazy, man. Like, no young motherfucker should have to go through this, man. For real.
C publicly honored him on social media as well, referring to him by his other street name, Els. Baby C was also known to have had a close relationship with Sherrod Carter Jr., better known as TG Backend, who at the time was affiliated with the Ghost Mob conservative Vice Lords before later returning to his earlier ties with the L Block Toss Gang Four Corner Hustlers. Rapper Stupid Dre, affiliated with the LT faction of the Four Corner Hustlers, would be seen openly disrespecting Baby C following his death. In several instances, Dre mocked Baby C's appearance, referring to him as E.T. Other members from the LT faction would join in on social media, continuing the disrespect by referring to Baby C as a pack, a term commonly used in street culture to mock deceased rivals, while also calling it bunk, slang for something considered low quality or mediocre. In response, Pluto 2 Times would repost one of these messages, directly addressing the claims. He pointed out that the LT faction hadn't actually created the pack, implying they were not responsible for Baby C's killing. At the same time, Pluto escalated tensions further by boasting about alleged retaliation, claiming that Ghost Mob had made 20 packs off LT alone, exaggerating the number of rival members they had killed. Pluto would double down in a separate post, issuing a warning to his opponents. He stated that until others began making their own packs, they should stop smoking the ones he made. The message was clear. He was asserting that LT members were speaking on violence they hadn't carried out themselves, while taking credit for actions he claimed Ghost Mob had committed. Following the death of Baby C, also known as Els, the conflict intensified. Ghost Mob, no longer moving quietly, began to step further into the spotlight, recognizing the seriousness of the war and the persistence of their opposition. What had once been a simmering conflict was now fully active, with both sides unwilling to back down. Months later, as the fall season approached, that tension would erupt into deadly retaliation. Ghost Mob would strike back, taking the lives of three well-respected individuals connected to both the B-Gang faction and the Hood-Rich Young Money movement, marking a major escalation in the ongoing conflict. On September 18th, 2019, three well-known and respected members from multiple West Side factions were killed in a brazen daytime shooting in the West Garfield Park neighborhood. The victims were 22-year-old Tion Terrell Lewis, better known as T-Wayne or Wheezy, who was affiliated with both the Hood-Rich Young Money Four Corner Hustlers and the Fifth City Unknown Vice Lords faction, along with 23-year-old Quashin Knowlton, known as 3, and 19-year-old Charles Boston, known as Nino, both of whom were members of the B-Gang faction of the Four Corner Hustlers and the Traveling Vice Lords. A fourth individual was also wounded in the attack. According to police, the four men were standing on the sidewalk outside the Quick Quick Food Mart in the 4200 block of West Madison Street in territory
exactly
controlled by
what I said.
B-Gang near Madison and Keeler at around 2:45 in the afternoon when shots were fired from a passing white sedan. The suspected gunman was allegedly Pluto 2 times. T. Wayne, 3, and Nino were all struck by gunfire and rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital, where all 3 were later
Oh, that's
pronounced dead.
crazy, bro. Like 3 lost in 1 shootout. Crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like that just make a nigga shiver. Like, damn.
Authorities said each of the victims
That's crazy.
lived in South Austin, only a short distance west of where the shooting took place. The 4th victim, a 25-year-old man, survived and was taken to the hospital for treatment. The scene was chaotic and devastating. More than 40 evidence markers covered the parking lot of the Quick Food Mart, where shell casings littered the
I know
ground.
exactly
a
what
pool
it's
of
at,
blood
too,
could be
bro.
seen
That's
near
crazy.
the entrance of the store. A nearby resident, 56-year-old Sybil Mason, who lived just a block away, said she heard at least 15 gunshots ring out. She described hearing people screaming in panic and recalled seeing one of the victims lying in a puddle of blood. She said the scene became crowded almost immediately, making it difficult to see the other victims clearly. Across the street, a group of shaken witnesses gathered near a corner store. Most refused to speak, but one visibly upset man, who declined to give his name, pleaded for journalists and city leaders to do more for neighborhoods devastated by gun violence. The aftermath of the triple homicide was captured on Facebook Live, with disturbing footage showing the scene after the shooting.
Bro, why would they show this on live? Like, bro, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with you motherfuckers? Y'all motherfuckers is sick, gang. Y'all sick. Who gets out their phone and record a lifeless body that's shot up with blood pouring out of it, all type of stuff, and record it and on live on Facebook? Like, bro, these is people, family members. Like, these is humans, bro. Like, y'all tripping, bro. For real. Like, gang, they recording this shit on Facebook Live. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy, bro.
The Quick Food Mart was known as a regular hangout spot for T. Wayne, 3, Nino, and other members of the B-Gang faction. T. Wayne, in particular, had close family ties within Hood Rich Young Money, as he was the biological cousin of rapper Pronto Spaz Out. The two reportedly shared a strong bond. In his Back in Blood remix, Pronto would later reference the tragedy, rapping about having just left the club before seeing his cousin lying in a pool of blood after the deadly shooting.
That nigga slid and took my cousin. All I seen was him in blood. Shit was trippy when I got the call. We just f***ed up the club.
The deaths of 3 and Nino were especially tragic to their peers, as both had only recently been released from time spent in the Illinois Department of Corrections.
Free Chief Low, Free 3, and B.O.B.
In the aftermath, members honored them heavily on social media, with some bitterly reflecting that staying locked up may have been the only thing that could have delayed or prevented their deaths. T. Wayne was also recognized by members of the Fifth City Unknown Vice Lords, particularly those from the SMF branch, who paid tribute to him online following his death. The triple killing sent shockwaves across several factions, as all 3 victims were deeply loved and respected in their respective circles. In the end, the man
That's
alleged
crazy.
to have carried out the infamous triple shooting, Pluto 2 times, would eventually meet his own fate exactly 10 days later at the hands of members tied to Hood Rich Young Money and Waller Money Gang. On September 28, 2019, 22-year-old Derek L. Burns, known as Pluto 2 times from Ghost Mob, was shot and killed in a broad daylight attack in the Austin neighborhood on Chicago's west side. A 28-year-old woman who was with him was also wounded in the shooting. At approximately 4 p.m., Pluto 2 times and the woman were stopped at a traffic light in the 700 block of North Cicero Avenue when a man identified as Ronald Jackson, also known as Rico or Wade from Hood Rich Young Money and Waller Money Gang, allegedly stepped out of a white vehicle that had pulled up nearby. Authorities say he approached their car and opened fire. Pluto was struck multiple times in the head and chest, while the woman was hit in the torso. Despite their injuries, they were able to drive themselves to West Suburban Medical
He was
Center
able
in
to
Oak
drive
Park.
himself after getting shot in the head, bro. That nigga. That's crazy.
Pluto 2 times was later
Well, the
pronounced
woman
dead,
died.
while the woman survived and was listed in good condition. An autopsy confirmed he died from multiple gunshot wounds, and his death was ruled a homicide. Almost immediately after the shooting, social media activity began to surface that many interpreted as direct references to the killing. A member affiliated with Waller Money Gang posted a tribute to a fallen member known as Too Hot, writing, "Glad to say you can rest easy now," strongly implying that Pluto's death was retaliation carried out exactly 1 year later. Just 2 days after the shooting, that
That's
same
crazy.
individual followed up with another post on Too Hot's death anniversary, stating, "We did it," further fueling speculation that the hit had been planned and executed as revenge. Rapper Pronto Spaz Out from Hood Rich Young Money added to the narrative, posting a modified lyric referencing the incident, saying, "Damn how I know, because I was right there with ya," suggesting possible presence at the scene. He would later go on to diss Pluto 2 times in his track Captain America, reinforcing the ongoing tension between the factions.
Off exotic, got so high, I thought that Pluto was the moon.
Within the streets, Pluto 2 times' death was widely seen as one of the biggest losses suffered by Ghost Mob and their allies, while simultaneously being viewed as a major retaliation for Hood Rich Young Money and Waller Money Gang. The emotional impact was immediate. Lil 3 from Ghost Mob openly expressed that seeing Pluto laid in his casket broke him mentally, saying the moment stayed with him and that Pluto's music was one of the only things keeping him going. Ronald Rico Jackson, affiliated with Hood Rich Young Money and Waller Money Gang, made a post on October 10th, 2019, the same day as Pluto 2 times' funeral, paying respects to T. Wayne, a member of his own side who was allegedly killed months earlier. In the post, Rico referred to T. Wayne as SLAT, a term and acronym meaning slime love all the time, signaling loyalty and remembrance. The timing of the tribute did not go unnoticed, as many interpreted it as symbolic, honoring a fallen ally on the same day as the funeral of the man believed to be responsible for his death. Further adding to the narrative, Rico had made an earlier social media post just months prior, where he shared a photo and captioned it with lyrics that some later connected to Pluto's killing. In the post, he quoted, "Say you a fool, shake something," a phrase commonly understood in street slang to mean taking action or committing violence, followed by, "Broad daylight, he would face some." After Pluto 2 times was shot and killed in the middle of the afternoon, many began to revisit that post, interpreting the broad daylight line as a possible reference to the circumstances surrounding the shooting, which occurred
I
around
don't see why these niggas love self-incriminating themselves. Like, bro, these niggas they don't care. They don't care, bro.
4 p.m., and the face some line is a possible reference to Pluto suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. While none of these posts serve as official confirmation, they contributed heavily to the street narrative, reinforcing the belief among many that Pluto 2 times killing was not random, but a calculated act tied to prior events and ongoing tensions between the factions. In the aftermath, members of Waller Money Gang continued to publicly honor Too Hot, reinforcing the narrative that his death had set off a chain of retaliation. In one post, affiliates stated that, for Too Hot, they known to get hot, a phrase implying that the group becomes especially active and reckless in response to his loss. In that same message, they went a step further, claiming that the person responsible for Too Hot's death was now deceased, a statement many interpreted as a direct reference to Pluto 2 times. As time went on, the messaging became even more symbolic. On Rico's birthday, members of Waller Money Gang paid tribute to him while linking his name back to Too Hot. In their post, they stated that they know Too Hot shook his hand at the gates of heaven, a powerful image that many took as confirmation, in their eyes, that Rico had carried out revenge and reunited with his fallen associate in the afterlife. While none of these statements were ever officially confirmed by authorities, they played a major role in shaping the street narrative, further cementing the belief that Pluto 2 times killing was tied directly to the earlier loss of Too Hot, and that Rico was central to that retaliation. Ladarius Howard, known as Lil Wop from Richway 600, also shared his grief publicly, stating that Pluto's death didn't sit right with him. During Pluto's funeral and repast, multiple figures including Richway Bino and Chief Spaz gathered alongside members and supporters to pay their respects. Across both Ghost Mob and Richway, Pluto was remembered as a respected figure, someone whose presence, reputation, and contributions left a lasting mark. Many would go on to refer to him as a legend within their circle. Following his death, the short but deadly conflict between Ghost Ghost Mob and the Hood Rich Young Money / Waller Money Gang alliance would begin to fade. What had been an active and violent back and forth ultimately slowed, leaving behind a trail of loss on both sides. By many accounts in the streets, the score stood even, a 2-2 balance, alongside the earlier killing and triple killing of members connected to the B-Gang faction. But beyond numbers, Pluto 2's death marked a turning point, closing a chapter in a war that, while brief, left a lasting impact on everyone involved. That'll be it for this video. If you found this content informative, make sure to like.
That's crazy, bro. Rest in peace for everybody that lost their life. But damn, only 2-2. Like, that's crazy, bro. But let me know in the comments what y'all think, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's your boy Ron Glow, signing off.